Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to a brand new presentation. My name is Conan and today I'm going to be explaining to you guys how you can still stay on track with your fitness goals while you're on the road. So let's just dive straight into it. So 2 years ago, 2022, I decided to buy a car and drive to Houston, Texas from Vancouver, British Columbia, which is up north in Canada. I stayed in Houston for 2 years, and as of yesterday, I finally arrived to Miami, Florida. So it was a kind of a spontaneous trip, but we have made it. And in this video, I just want to share some tips that I use personally to still help me stay on track with my health and my fitness goals while being on the road. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to plan ahead of time, or at least prepare ahead of time. So you should know, roughly speaking, how long your road trip will last. So for us, it took us around 17 hours, and this didn't include stopping for gas, stopping for food, or any of that. So it took a bit longer than this, but the actual hours driven was around 17 hours. So make sure that you come prepared and know, roughly speaking, how long you'll be on the road for. And so the way I did this personally is I planned this trip out a couple weeks in advance. So I knew that whenever I did my road trip, it would fall perfectly on my rest days and on my deload week. And so obviously, if you guys are in my premium VIP program, we will implement deload weeks into your workout program. These are absolutely crucial to make sure that you're seeing long-term sustainable progress, because constantly working out extremely hard year in, year out can definitely beat you up. And what you'll notice is that if you've never done a deload week before, if you've been training for months on end and you're noticing that you're kind of hitting a plateau, you're not seeing the results that you're looking for, it's probably because your fatigue is simply way too high. And oftentimes when our fatigue is way too high, it'll start to mask our performance, right? And so despite you working hard, extremely hard in the gym, you're pushing your body, you're grunting, you're screaming, you're doing all this stuff, but you're just simply not getting stronger or not seeing any results, it's more than likely because you're simply way too fatigued. And so this is a perfect time for you to implement something like a deload week, where you do something like reducing your volume, reducing the intensity, and view it as taking like one step backwards in order to take two steps forwards. And so that's exactly what I did during this trip. I did this during my deload week, so I didn't really have to worry too much about finding a gym while I was on the road, because again, I planned this accordingly. I was training really hard leading up to this, and I was pretty overreached, to be honest. And so this was a perfect time for me to just relax a bit, not have to worry about the workouts, and just mainly about just making sure that I get to my destination. And so the only thing that I really had to really focus on was two other things, and that was my daily steps, making sure that I'm still somewhat staying active and burning calories. And the second thing was actually like my diet, right? Because I don't want to be eating like a pig, and I don't want to just be super sedentary. Despite me sitting in the car most of the time, I still allocated some time to actually still get my steps in whenever I took like a break from driving. So diet-wise, a couple things that I did personally is, number one, I just did some meal prep. So this is a meal that I brought from home. So I cooked a couple meals. So here's some vegetables, there's some chicken. Most of the meals that I did prep are pretty low in calories. And that is because I typically like to keep my calories a bit lower when I'm on the road, because I don't want to be eating just a bunch of excess calories, especially that my activity level isn't extremely high. So I ate slightly less food than I typically would, simply because, I'm not going to be as active, right? So here, again, so some chicken breast, veggies, and then I added some healthy fats in the form of an avocado here as well. So I had a couple of these meals prepped with me, ready to go. So whenever I stopped for gas, I just quickly ate one of these meals, and also just saves me time and money as well from like having to eat out, which, by the way, whenever you eat out, you never know 100% what they put into foods, right? And then most of the time is not the healthiest alternative. Although I will give you guys a couple tips or a couple suggestions that if you do insist on eating food at the gas station, there are still healthier alternatives as opposed to getting like a candy bar, for example. So I did some meal prep, and then also thankfully for me, also have a meal prep delivery service that actually delivers meals straight to my door. So this is also really, really handy. This also saves you a bunch of time and a bunch of money as well. So instead of you having to prep your own meals, you can literally reach out to a meal prep delivery service, and they will literally order or deliver food straight to your door. So you don't have to do any meal prep. You just buy it on their website, and they just give you a bunch of meals. So that really, really helps, especially if you're busy and you're tight on time. And then last thing is also just having like some easy to go healthy snacks. So right here, I brought some ramen with me. So whenever we stayed at our motel to stay overnight, I just cooked up some of this ramen. This is really easily, like, it's a really travel friendly kind of like thing that you can bring. Although I would say that most ramens aren't really the healthiest. This ramen in specific, this was like a protein ramen that I got. So this was actually really good. It had like 30 grams of protein, or no, sorry, 22 grams of protein. So honestly, it wasn't bad at all. A couple other snacks that you can bring with you is obviously protein powder, super cheap, super affordable, super convenient, protein bars. And we actually went to the gas station. It was called Buc-ee's, and they had literally so many just different protein variations. Although it's not maybe like quote unquote the healthiest, it's definitely a lot better than having like a candy bar. So they had like protein cookies, they had protein brownies, protein chips, protein bars, protein drinks, protein shakes. They had like protein everything, which was actually kind of cool. And so literally gives you no excuses, especially nowadays, for you to at least not hit your daily protein goal while you're traveling on the go, right? So most gas stations have like higher protein options. They also sometimes sell fruits. And then also when it comes to like your drinks, I would typically suggest is sticking to water, right? But if you insist, if you want to still satisfy your sweet tooth, I say this all the time, but do not drink your calories. So go for a 0-calorie alternative. So this could be water, sparkling water, a 0-calorie energy drink. My most popular one, or my most favorite one, is just a black coffee. I love this. As you guys can tell here, I had it with my meal prep here from Cracker Barrel that I got, but like a diet soda, diet pop is fine, diet Coke, a 0-calorie energy drink, those are also fine. Just make sure that you don't drink your calories, because when you drink your calories, number one, it won't fill you up whatsoever. And I don't know about you guys, but I would so much rather eat my calories and actually enjoy the taste and the flavors in my mouth, as opposed to simply drinking my calories that I don't really get to enjoy much of it in general, right? So if I were you, I'd definitely save your calories for actual foods that you can actually eat and chew, as opposed to just drinking your calories, which again doesn't really fill you up, right? And now this is actually quite funny. Plan for the worst. And what I mean by that is that check your tires before you go, check your oil, do all this stuff, especially if you're going to be driving in your car on the roads. Literally from Houston, I think this was in Louisiana. It was such a weird experience because my tire actually, it never, like, my tire has never popped. My tire, I've never gone a flat tire before, and I definitely should have checked them beforehand. I don't know if I drove on something, but it was so crazy because basically I was driving, I was actually calling one of my friends. We were talking, and then I heard a couple of things, and it all happened so quickly. So basically, I was talking to him, and then he had to go, so he kind of hung up. But then as soon as he hung up, actually a couple seconds before that, I actually heard some kind of like loud noises behind me, and I genuinely thought that it was just some crazy drivers behind me just being loud with their motors, whatever. So I didn't think too much of it, and then my friend hung up, and then I started noticing that my car physically started like kind of like having like going on, like it felt like I was going on like a bumpy road basically. And I was like, okay, well this is weird. I'm not on a bumpy road, I'm just on a highway. It should be pretty smooth here. And then I definitely noticed that, okay, like on the left rear end, something's up. And then that is when I realized that my tire, something happened to my tire basically. And I have a pretty old car. It's a 2004 Nissan Sentra, so it didn't have any like signals on the dashboard telling me that something was up with my tire. So anyway, I just pulled over, and yeah, on the middle of the road, it's definitely far from ideal. Yeah, noticed that honestly, it looked like my tire kind of exploded, which I don't know if I drove on something. I don't even know what it was, but basically it broke, which wasn't ideal. And thankfully for me, I called my dad. I tried to stay as calm as I could. I did have a spare tire in the back seat, thankfully, but I had no idea how to install it. But thankfully, this guy actually pulled up on the side of the roads for me, and he basically helped me fix my tire. He put my spare tire on, and then I just went to the closest tire store, got a new tire. Wasn't fun, wasn't ideal, but thankfully nothing happened, and thankfully I'm okay. But yeah, stuff like this I did not control for. I did not want to happen, but hey, it happens. I survived, I'm alive, so that's the most important part. And hey, at least I got a pretty cool story out of that. So that's kind of what happened there. Yeah, I had to literally unpack all my clothes from the car, had to grab my spare tire, and then again, thankfully he kind of fixed that for me, which I'm so grateful for. And then, yeah. Anyway, I made it to Miami as of yesterday. First stop, obviously, we made it to the beach. And yeah, that's basically my entire road trip story. So like I mentioned to you guys, quick little TLDR. Try to plan your trip ahead of time. So if you can, ideally plan it during either a couple of your rest days. So if you're going to be on the road for, let's say, 2 to 3 days, plan it on like your rest day, maybe on the weekend, or better yet, plan it during like a deload week, so you don't have to worry altogether about still having to like try to find a gym while you're on the road. Secondly, when it comes to your diets, try to have as much meal prep as you can. Again, either prep your own meals or order meals from a meal prep delivery service. Bring it with you. Saves you a bunch of time, saves you a bunch of money, and also helps you actually stay on track with hitting your calories and protein goals. If you insist on stopping at a gas station, which I did a couple times as well, there are so many healthy alternatives. Opt for high protein foods that helps you hit your protein goals. And again, you can also just stop at a grocery store, get some fruits, all that stuff. Stay hydrated. Stick to water if you can. Otherwise, just have a 0-calorie drink, black coffee, a tea, 0-calorie energy drink, diet sodas, diet pops, all that fun stuff. And then while you get gas, while you make your stops, walk around, still try to get your steps in, stretch out a bit so you can still kind of hit your daily step count for the day. So that's all that I have for you guys in this specific video. But ultimately, guys, when you are on the road, I know most people don't even want to worry about their health and fitness goals, and considering it's only going to be for a couple of days, it's not something that you should really stress over. But if you're someone like me who's really just passionate about health and fitness and just wants to like optimize their lifestyle at all times, this is definitely something you can start implementing, or at least one of the couple of things that I gave you, maybe you can start implementing as well. So I'll let you guys go. I will be making more videos here in Miami, so stay on the lookout for that, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace. Now, if you want to be around a community of like-minded people just like yourself who will educate you, motivate you, and inspire you to absolutely demolish your health and fitness goals, come join the Barbarian squad down below. I guarantee you, you will not regret it one single bit, and I'll see you inside.